Board. Perfect, perfect. All right, guys, so we got a lot of stuff to cover today. I have some dialogue for you guys. I have some thoughts for you guys. But before we get started officially, as always, I need somebody to bring us out of the tunnel, bring us out of the field. Hence why I want your guys' camera on. And here's the thing, you guys, having the camera on, wherever you guys are doing, it just helps us to stay engaged. I want to see you. I want to engage with you. And I want to talk with you. Now, Monica has never been here before. Okay, Monica, and I'm going to tell you a quick story, you guys, and this is about just doing things that are fun, that has no thought of any type of reward at all. All you want to do is give, right? So on Easter, I ordered the big old Easter bunny outfit, right? So I'm in the big old Easter bunny outfit, supposed to wear it to the office, but I didn't because it came late. Well, Amanda and I just decided, let's get on the Vespa and drive around our community and just wave at people, right? So kids came out, we took pictures, we're on the road, I can barely see, the thing is moving. I'm like, Amanda, move it back. Wait, that's too far. Okay, here we go. And I'm riding, beep, 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 beep. Yeah, terrifying, but it's only terrifying to take the thing off. It was so cool, had so much fun. Well, there's someone on the screen today, her name is Monica. Monica was honking and waving at the Easter bunny. And then Amanda's like, hey, do you guys want a picture? Well, we stopped. We took a picture with her son, her and her son, Caleb. She was actually out here from Houston visiting her mom. She specializes in credit repair. Her mom's been in real estate for 20 plus years, and she is now thinking about joining our team and moving back out to California. So Monica, it was really great to meet you. What we usually do is we have somebody take us out of the tunnel and out on the field in group coaching. What that simply means is if you have something that you would say to yourself or something you would say to somebody else to pump them up, to motivate them, to get them ready for battle, to get them ready for game day, is there a mantra? Is there something you say? And would you be so kind to share something with us this morning? And it's great to have you on here, Monica.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Hi, everybody. Forgive me for looking crazy. I literally just came from the gym. I did my spin class and getting my mind right? But hello, everybody. My name is Monica Thomas. I've been in the credit space for over 2 years now. And prior to that, I actually did hair for 17 years. So it's crazy how COVID can totally change your life. So I got into credit repair. I needed credit help myself. And it's pretty cool because my mom's, been in real estate for 20 years. So as I'm fixing people's credit, I'm able to refer her clients. And so it was kind of like, kind of worked hand in hand. So nice to meet you all. I'm super excited. I should have gotten my real estate license a long time ago because I have such a passion for, homes, helping people. That's why I actually completely changed my career and stayed in this career. So so hey, but what I would
Go ahead.
Oh, it's okay. But yeah, it's a crazy story, but you just never know who you're going to meet. And it's always like coincidental, like how certain people come into your life and you're like, whoa, that's crazy. Like God works in mysterious ways. But anyways, but yeah, what I would definitely say is, everybody, always stay active, always keep your mind strong, always try to like do self-development, because the more stronger we are internally, we can, like when our cup is full, then we can fill other people's cups. And so it's super, super important. So thank you for inviting me on these calls. I'm going to start my studying, ASAP, and I'm coming back to Cali.
Yeah, that's right. So let's give her time. And the randomest meet from me riding a Vespa in a freaking bunny costume, but really, really glad that we met. And the reason why I called, and I didn't know Monica was going to be here. I invited her to be here, but we're actually going to talk about upstream partners in just a moment. So Monica, it's actually a perfect segue into our conversation for today. So I want to share something with you guys. And I was writing this morning and something that I learned from John Cheplack a couple months back. And it was just simply he said when we were on a coaching call, and he talked about stream of consciousness. And I believe that's what happens in these groups, right? This is what happens when we're on Zoom calls together. That's what happens when we're in coaching. Yeah, obviously it's important to make your calls. It's important to hit your KPIs. It's important to send the text messages, the emails. Those things are obviously important to your guys' growth. But what I think more importantly is that we are working and we're operating out of a stream of consciousness, and we have high levels of EQ. That's why when we're here, there's some real conversations, there's some real dialogue. We're hearing from Monica, who is brand new to this group, like really speaking from a point of like here and like delivering a quality message. And so I wrote here, like, we need to live and conduct ourselves in a stream of consciousness, to communicate with purpose, to live on purpose, and to act as if, you know, like tomorrow's never promised. And while I'm reminded of this, I went out to Napa last night and met up with my buddy Sergio, who is 63 years old, and his wife. They've been married for 40 plus years. They've traveled all over the world. 2 years ago, I went to visit him in Las Vegas, and he was battling stage 4 cancer. He had prostate cancer that was stage 4, and it was looking really, really bleak for Sergio. So I went out to see Sergio. Sergio's from Sicily. His father was an Italian diplomat. His first language is Italian. Just a really, really cool dude to know and conversate with. Well, I went out to see him. He had no eyebrows because of the chemo. He had literally no hair. His skin was like translucent and almost like a gray color. He had lost tons of weight, super, super frail. And I'm like, oh my God, I went out there and I'm like, Coach, I call him Coach. I was like, dude, like, I'm just here for you. I took him out. We had some dinner, but like seeing him like that, when I left Vegas, I didn't know what was going to happen in the coming months. Like, am I going to see Sergio again? But he made it. He beat cancer. He is 100% cancer free. He is a grandfather. He is back to traveling. And so I drove all the way to Napa last night, Amanda and I, just to take him to dinner. And while we were sitting there, all he spoke about was all the places that they've traveled to in Europe, all the places that they've seen, all of the memories, all of the food, all the people, all the piazzas that he just sat and smoked cigars and drank espressos all day, what he wore, and all the experiences. I was like, that's what it's all about, right? We're going to grind, and we're going to grind so much that sometimes we forget to stop. Like, stop and think about, like, when am I going on my next trip? I'm going to the Amalfi Coast within the next 18 months, and I'm going for 2 weeks. I'm flying into Rome, and I'm taking a train all the way to Positano, and I am staying there for 2 weeks, and I'm sitting in the piazzas, and I'm eating Italian food every day, and I'm shaking my little espresso, and I'm riding Vespas around. I'm declaring that. That's what I'm doing, because at the end of the day, what the fuck are we working for? To grind, to save a bunch of money that we're going to die with? No, like, I want the experiences. I want to go and share. I want to give. I want to come back and share these rich stories. So I am filled with a stream of consciousness just because I was able to spend time with my buddy and like chop it up. And it was just the coolest experience. And, you know, it was like, I love paying for dinner for him because I feel he's like a father figure. So the check comes, and old school Italian guy, you don't try to take the check from an old school Italian guy. Well, I'm like, no, I got this, right? I got this. He's like, wait a minute. I was like, I'm not arguing with you. I'm paying for dinner. And it just felt so good to like spoil him and his wife. And like, it was just a really, really good experience. So when we're talking about stream of consciousness, I just want to share that with you guys. Like, go out there and build memories, go and book some trips, go on some vacation, like have some fun and go and experience life. And so I'm looking forward to that vacation. I'm looking forward to, you know, building memories for myself and for my own family. So I thought I'd share that with you in the thought of stream of consciousness. Let's do this, you guys. I want to talk to you about upstream partners. And the reason why this is a really powerful conversation is that I want you guys to get in front of people before those people have to talk to somebody about real estate, but know that there is going to be a need for that person to buy or sell real estate. So let's stay here. Most of the time, what we are doing is we are fishing in a stream with tons of other people trying to get those same leads, right? You think about it. Think like a Zillow lead. Think like OpCity. Think about a Realtor.com. They're all in the stream of what are so many people doing? They're trying to get those leads out of there. So what happens is it diminishes the quality of that lead. That's why when you think about a program like Zillow Flex or Zillow as a whole, industry standards across the entire United States of America is an average of a 4% close, okay? So that means 96% of those people are not buying. They're in this pond, right? Because there's so many people. So we watched this presentation the other day and I thought it was really, really eye-opening. Who are the people that we need to make relationships with? Who can we serve that are speaking to people well before they go on the Zillows, well before they go on the realtor.com, well before they start putting information out there like, hey, I need a real estate agent, and all these people are clamoring to get that business? Who? So when we talk about upstream partners, some people on this call might have some upstream partners. Monica is an upstream partner. And for the fact that she's going to go into real estate, that's a perfect correlation. Why? What are your 2-year goals and what do you want to get your FICO score to? Cool. Here's what you need to pay down. Here's what you need to do. Our goal is to buy a house within 2 years. She already knows that she is working with somebody that is wanting to purchase a home well before they even start the process. So do you think that that's a quality lead? I think that's a really, really high intention lead, high conversion, and a great opportunity for you guys to build a relationship early on. Let's talk about this, you guys. Divorce attorneys. Now, I'm not saying, hey, I want to call you, you're Otis, you're a top divorce attorney in my market. I wanted to get leads from you. No, the conversation needs to be, listen, I know you probably get a lot of phone calls from real estate agents and professionals wanting to get leads from you in some way, shape, or form. That's not really what I want to do. Is I wanted to ask you if there was anything that you needed throughout the process of talking with your clients about real estate, about CMAs, about knowing the values of their home, how to split the equity, what the selling process looks like. Could I send you a series of videos or a CMA or a high note presentation, explain what the high note is, that will display those things to answer those questions early on to make that conversation easier with you and your clients? That's what I would love to do, right? So we serve first. And if you serve at a high level, what's going to happen is going to be like, you know what? I actually do have the Johnsons. They're divorcing. They're needing to split assets. They have 2 houses. They're thinking about selling one of them. They haven't talked to a real estate agent yet because they wanted to decide what's going to happen with me as a lawyer first. That's a fucking good lead, you guys. That's a really, really good lead. So that's an upstream partner. What I mean is that it hasn't started to go down the river at all. Probate attorneys, estate planners, right? These are people that need your help. Credit repair people, out-of-state movers, in-state movers. Like, you guys need to really, really think like, how can I provide some high levels of service to these people to become their direct partner? I had an agent the other day call me. I won't even mention their name. They're probably on this call. She's like, my dad is a lawyer and he has tons and tons of business. And he's been burned by different real estate agents, didn't give the high level of service. So he's like, is there something that I can do when he's communicating with his clients to share with them the information about what I do and how I can help them, how I can advocate for them, how can I help them sell their home, whatever that is, right? So you guys have to start thinking like, cool, we have the ways to prospect, you know how to do that, but can you make your job a little bit easier, right? And if you think strategically and think about who are the people that are going to need real estate and who are the people talking to them before they hit the masses, that's where we need to go, right? And so I don't know if any of you have any people that you're working with, like credit repair person. Like if I was just an agent, I would probably want to know, Monica, how can I help you? Like, can I hook your clients up with anything? Can I share with them what the buying process is? Can I answer any questions? Even if it's 2 years out, I'd love to be able to share with them what the home buying journey is going to look like and what they can expect for, home prices in the next couple of years. I'd love to have that conversation with them. So it's serve first, because I'm not just trying to get a lead. I'm trying to make a true partnership that's going to stand the test of time. And I'm also trying to serve them and make their business better, right? So I want you guys to think about these things. And I see Cynthia shaking her head. So, I don't know if you have upstream partners or if you're working with anybody, but you want to kind of chime in on this conversation.
Yeah, for sure. So when I was first getting into real estate, I had this like mental block of people don't want to work with me because I'm a new young person. But what I did to get myself out of that headspace is I would join groups like BNI. business, oh shit, I think it's called Business Networking International, I'm pretty sure. But these BNI groups, I would attend CCRIM, RMA, these local groups of realtors. And it wasn't just realtors. It was like you were saying, the probate attorneys, trust attorneys, these folks that were out in the community. And that's how I would establish rapport with not just the agents in my field to get my offers won, but I would also connect with folks so that they would, in turn help me get leads. So one of my upstream partners is Ruth Strout, and she has been voted Oakland's #1 insurance agent like a bajillion years in a row. And this lady is so good at what she does. And she has sent me a couple leads that have closed over the years. And everyone that I think of that needs insurance, I now send them to her. And now I have a couple people that I send, right? I'll send Ruth, and then I know Peter's wife, Nancy, is an agent. So my new clients through Fast, I'll send them to Nancy as well. We have Fast Insurance, but having that relationship with Ruth, she trusted in me to help her boyfriend buy his house. Because I went to dinner with her, I attended BNI with her, I saw her week after week after week, and never once did I ask for the business. I never was like, hey, by the way, if you have anyone. No, that's gross. I just built that rapport and connection, and we would talk about the market and what's it looking like for you and high fire zones. When the fires struck, I needed to educate myself. So I'd call Ruth, hey, Ruth, what's it looking like to buy in Napa right now? And she'd be like, oh, it's like $1 bajillion a year for fire insurance. So it's just a really great partnership. And we have those throughout. Your lender, your lenders, you should be talking to them like this too, get updates from them specifically. Sure, they may send you a blog, but call those people up and be like, hey, Aaron, how's it going? Can you give me a little nugget? Yeah, it's huge. And as a new agent, or even as a seasoned agent, we have to have those people that are helping us, and we're helping them in return.
Totally. And Eric took himself off of mute. I'll come to you in a moment, but it's just like, think about people that are refinancing. It's like, are they going to refinance, or they have other plans for the home? Like, that's a conversation that they're probably having with their lender. And so it'd be great to be able to get in front of that. So Eric, you took yourself off of mute, bro. Do you want to chime in on this?
No, that was just on accident.
Okay. All right. So you guys, I want you to think about this. And for some of you, this might be new, and I've learned this early on in my career, but and I'll share the slide deck with you guys. I'll put it into Slack. Judith is actually sick today, so she took the day off. But I want you guys to really start thinking about, who can I serve, right? Not who can I get leads from? Because if that is your thought, it is the wrong thought. It's like, I'm getting into real estate because I want to make fucking G's. You're going to make money, but I'm here to be the great emancipator of the dream and help people purchase homes. That's what I want to do in life, right? So it's a different feeling. It's a different context, right? So I want you to start thinking about this. We'll go full circle. We'll come back to this on Wednesday of next week. By Wednesday, I want you to come to me. I want you guys to share. I don't need to know names. Hey, if I could form a relationship with Ann Fong, I would probably form a relationship with Ann Fong, because she is on every single billboard in every single city. What I'm saying is that I want you guys to really evaluate this business, look broader, past what we normally do, and say, if I got a couple really great upstream partners, and maybe I got 4 or 5 deals every single year and help people, like, that's a great partnership. Think about this, think outside the box, think big. You probably already have some relationships of people, whether it's an architect, whether it's a builder, whether it's a land surveyor. Like, hey, what are you surveying for? Oh, well, I'm trying to check to see if there's any gas lines here because I know a person that's trying to build a fourplex or whatever that is. Cool. I have a guy that does underground radar. That's all he does. So he goes out to these projects to check the land to see what is underneath the land. He uses like this thing and the monitor and has the screen. I'm like, that's probably somebody that would provide some great opportunities for partnerships. So think about these things, have those conversations. If you guys have any thoughts or any dialogue or anything that you want to share, I'll open it up to anybody. Does anybody want to share on this topic before we move on? Joellen, let's hear from you.
Yeah, I want to share something as far as like real estate attorneys go and what they're looking for to take stuff off their plate. It's basically having a team of vetted vendors that can come in and do liquidation, painters, cleanup, contracts. That helps them because if they have somebody that already has that put together, then you're the go-to experienced person that knows how to go through probate. But there's a company called alltheleads.com. And it's an amazing course that you can take on probate, get certified. They have mastermind groups. They teach you everything. And that's how I got certified. And I have a full team of vetted vendors. And I've done a probate sale literally from a liquidation standpoint all the way on to a full remodel.
Love this. I love this. So, I'll give you an example. What's that?
No, it is.
Oh, buddy. Imagine this, you guys. Imagine you put together a great high note presentation that was filled with not only the buyer's presentation, but a video explaining the things that are in the buyer's consultation, just like you do live with your consumers. But like, hey, Mr. Thompson, I wanted to make sure that all of your clients get this. And hi, you guys. I know it's a transitional time in your life, but I want to introduce myself. My name is Eric King. I want you guys to watch the series below. It's going to help you understand what happens when you're thinking about selling the home. Or I want to share with you what the buying process looks like if you are new to the market or you haven't sold a home. That is a true value add that you gave to somebody. So they're like, wow, look at this. Or here's all the list of resources. Here's the things that you need to do to prep the home for sale. Even if they don't go with you, you're there to serve them. So Joellen, I absolutely love this. Anybody else have any thoughts or any dialogue on this conversation before we move on? Going once, going twice. Is that Ernesto reaching for the unmute? Go ahead, Ernesto. I saw the body language.
There's a quote that really resonates with me. It says, "The poor look for work, the rich look for networks." And so I think about people like Peter, right? Peter Lee, who's not on this call today. He is an ARIA. He is an NAREP, which is, seen as a Hispanic Realtor Association. I know he's part of the Elks Lodge in Alameda. I'm sure that he is intentionally looking to just build his network. So I just joined the Concord Chamber of Commerce. So if you want to join your local Chamber of Commerce so you can network with other small business owners, that's a really good way to do that. I know people that have done it really well with BNI. BNI, like, is national. The way that works is there's only one of every role, and there's multiple chapters. I think there's 2 in Concord, but they already each have a residential realtor. So if you can find a BNI that doesn't have a residential realtor, last I inquired, they had openings in like Lafayette or like Livermore, right? Places that I don't really care to be in. But anywho, as a new agent, joining networks where you can meet other people that can potentially be upstream partners, I think is super, super important. So just throwing out some best practices about where you can find those opportunities.
Love it. I love it. And who's to stop you? Who's to stop you from putting a group together called the Collective? The Collective is your own style of BNI. It is different people from different industries, from different trades, and then you bring them together for a mastermind about community, about building, or what do you do, or how can we elevate you? Like, do a collective of people in Martinez, do a collective of people in Walnut Creek. Like, there's nothing stopping you, nothing at all. And then you're the go-to person because you are the real estate professional within that group. Does anybody else have any thoughts or dialogue on this conversation before we move forward? Going once, going twice. All right, cool. Is that somebody that was going to chime in?
Yeah, I was.
Who is that? Motion?
Motion, yes.
Motion. All right, buddy. Go ahead. Rapid fire, bro. Let's hear from you.
All right, good morning. First of all, my internet is a bit tweaking this morning, so I apologize. Second of all, I wanted to mention that I'm very excited to join the team. I'm brand new. So hello, everyone. And second of all, on the topic, I wanted to mention gatekeepers really quick. Gatekeepers are just as important than the actual people that we spoke about in terms of lawyers, CPAs, and the other professionals. Gatekeepers also have influence for the people they work with. So sometimes when it's hard to break the barriers between establishing a relationship with the actual business owner or the professional, the ones with the designations, the gatekeepers can help you surpass that point a lot easier than it would be to be on your own, instead of having all these luncheons and everything else and having to go through a lot of loops. So I learned when I was in sales for many years that gatekeepers are very important to establish a relationship with as well. And I just want to mention that.
Yeah, for sure, bro. I love that. Great gem. Great gem. You guys, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the market. I want to have some dialogue around this because obviously I believe in being masterful at our dialogue. But before going on, Nicole, did you have something really quick?
I thought I heard Cynthia say something about fast insurance. I was just asking what that was.
So Cynthia, did you want to elaborate?
I've been looking for it on Slack. So yes, it is officially a thing. Fast insurance is a thing. It's powered through Strategic Insurance Group. Can't find any other info than that, but that's what I got for you.
All right, perfect. All right, so I need a couple volunteers who wants to have some dialogue with me. Give me a reaction down below if you're down to have a little bit of dialogue with me and do some role playing on this call today. And don't be shy, because if you don't raise your hand, I'm probably just going to call somebody random. Come on, you guys, this is coaching for a reason. Who's going to get in the ring and throw some punches with the coach right now? Okay, thank you, Aaliyah. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You're welcome, Wes.
All right, so let's do this. And Demian, I love that. The hands are going up when one starts to raise their hands, others start to raise their hands. So let's have some dialogue. This came up in a coaching session yesterday, so I think it's important because this is what we're facing right now. And we have so many different people on the call, from $40 million producers for people chasing their first deal. So let's have some dialogue. A buyer says they want to wait until interest rates come back down to buy a home. What is the dialogue that you're saying? How are you building urgency? And what do you say to this type of client?
Oh, we did this one last week too.
Oh, okay, cool. Do you want, I could give you a different one then, okay?
Yeah, because I'm just thinking I would literally say the same exact thing.
All right, so my wife and I want to buy a home in about 6 months to a year. We don't have that much saved up for our down payment. What are some things that we should do in order to get ready to purchase a home?
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you and your wife are hoping to purchase a home in the next 6 months to a year.
Yep.
Okay, and what's the motivation behind you guys wanting to purchase a home?
Just security, stability, and we don't want to rent any longer.
Totally. I totally understand that. And I love it. And I'm super happy to help guide you guys through this process of purchasing a home. So let's start first. Obviously, finances is an important factor to you being able to purchase a home. Have you had a conversation with a lender? Have you formed any type of relationship with a lender yet?
No, this is actually the first conversation. Our neighbor said to call you. They saw you walk in the neighborhood with your daughter and said you're in real estate, so we called you.
Perfect. I love it. Okay, so this is what I would like to do, because I really want to make sure that you guys are educated and know what to expect throughout this whole buying process. And I want to make sure that you guys are ready to buy in the next 6 months to a year. So let's schedule an appointment for a buyer's consultation. I have some time on Thursday at 10 a.m. How does that sound?
That sounds perfect.
Wonderful. I will send out a calendar invite to confirm, and we'll go over everything that you need to know tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Love it. Love it. Good stuff, Aaliyah. I love it. And here's what you do without even thinking about it. And I don't know if you have been trained on this, but NLP, and if you don't know about NLP, we won't get into that whole conversation because it's a lengthy one. And maybe we'll talk about that in the future, but it's all about framing. What Aaliyah does really well when she starts out the conversation, she frames it and reframes it to make sure that she understands what the client is talking about. So if I heard you correctly, your goal is to do XYZ in the next XYZ. Okay, perfect. So she's able to reframe it and frame it in order for her to stay on track with where the conversation's going. So really good stuff, Aaliyah. Nick Guzman, do you want to talk about a buyer that says,
question.
Yo.
Okay, so like with that conversation would setting the appointment to like actually, instead of just trying to have like a really quick conversation about like an answer the question that you asked, is setting the appointment like a good move?
You know my answer to that. The answer to that is it's always a good move to do the buyer's consultation, because even if they're 6 months, a year out, here's the thing, Aaliyah, if I've never met you, what makes me think that you're going to actually call me when you want to buy a home if I've never met you, or we've never had an exchange of information or value at all? What I do is I take a stance of advocacy and education. So I just want to share with you what the home journey looks, or home buying journey looks like, even if it's a year down the road. So let's do this, right? Because your value is there from the moment you start talking with them. Oh, get pre-approved and then I'll start talking to you. No, now there's other people. There's other people. You're well ahead of the game here. So Nick Guzman, let's hear from you, brother. Do you want to talk about interest rates rising and the conversations you're having with your buyers right now, if they want to wait and they're on the fence?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just role play with you like you're my client. So yeah,
Hey,
Elias,
Nick, you know what, man? We've been looking at homes in San Francisco and it just sucks. And now our interest rate just went up to 4.75 and it was originally 3.25. And it's just like, I think we should probably just wait for home prices to come down and like interest rates to come back down. What are your thoughts on that?
First of all, I completely understand how you feel. I mean, you would be surprised on how many of my clients that I have conversations with, not just currently, but also in the past, who have actually felt the exact same way. And what's very, very interesting, though, is that whenever I've seen interest rates rise at any time, what I've personally found is that a lot of times that's when opportunities open up. For example, just last week, I just got a client of mine into contract, and their interest rate rose slightly in the last few weeks, but opportunity had presented itself, and it was a situation where the seller was actually going into a very, very bad divorce. It had just got back on the market. It fell out of contract. We saw it the exact same day it came back onto contract, and then we walked right in, got into contract with contingencies in place as well. And my clients are super happy because it's a newly constructed home. Can I say that's going to happen in this situation? I don't know. But what I do know is that this is where a lot of people begin to pump the brakes. So I wouldn't completely close out the opportunity completely. I would still keep an open mind, and let's just see what happens as it presents itself. But the most important thing to know is that whatever decision that you make, I completely respect it, and I'm right here with you. But I just feel that we should still keep our eyes open just in case an opportunity presents itself.
And I mean, solid. I don't know if you guys heard this, but early in his conversation, he did the feel, felt, found, but he did not say it. He did not say it that way, right? He has a technique, and it was, first off, empathy. The feel is, you know what, Nick, I understand how you feel. And a lot of clients that I've been working with over the last couple of months, they have felt the same way. But what they have found was so it's like feel, right? Empathy, like others, social proof have felt that same way. But what they have found, like that's a really, really powerful strategy, you guys. And it's not cheesy and it's not contrived. It's literally, if you take your mind through that process of feel, felt, found, it's exactly what Nick just did. And he had a really, really solid approach and great dialogue. So Nick, I love that. Eric, you had your hand up, bro.
Yeah, something that I've been telling my buyers that have been throwing me the objection of interest rates going up is, I totally understand. I get it. It was way lower even just a year or two ago. But, something that people aren't talking about is the appreciation that's been happening in the Bay for the last 13 years of like 15, 20% appreciation year over year, right? Considering that they just printed 80% of our currency that's in circulation in the last 2 years, everything's going to go up, including the prices of homes, right? So although interest rates are a little bit higher now, in the long scheme of things, it's still a hedge against inflation. So that's something that I want you to wear on for size in perspective to think about. And that's something that I've been kind of using and it's been working. So
I love it. I love it. Anybody else have some dialogue that they want to share? Anybody else want to take this on? Anybody else want to share how they're communicating with clients? Because this is super, super important that your dialogue is strong, because buyers are going to hit you with this right now. And if you allow them to, it's going to be their reason to say, oh, it was the market, it was interest rates, that's why we can't purchase a home, right? We need to educate them and truly, truly help them understand that you might be concerned with 1 or 2 points on your interest rate, and you may lose out on 15% appreciation year over year, right? It's like, it's easy for consumers to look right here at the immediate. Sometimes we have to help them look onward. We have to help them see the big picture. We have to help them see what's next, not just what is right in front of them. Let me take one more person on this. Who wants to go? Cortez, you want to go? Colette, you had your hand up?
Yeah, I was just going to add to that.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to add to that, you know, 5% is still really low. I mean, it's like, you know, that's like normal. I mean, 4 or 5%, that's pretty standard. We just got spoiled, you know, with that 2.5% for a minute. And now everybody thinks 5% is unreasonable. It's not, you know, I mean, you know, there were times when the interest rates were double digits, you know, and those people still came out ahead, you know. So we just gotta, you know, if you're planning to be in a house for at least 5 years, you're gonna most likely, in California, you're most likely gonna have it at least 300,000 in equity, and that's more than gonna make up for any interest rate.
Let me ask you guys a question. Are all of you still driving your cars if you have a gas-powered car? Like, my answer is yes. I was putting gas in my car the other day. It's literally like $6. Yeah, it stings a little bit, but I'm not driving less. I'm still driving my car. People are still going to buy homes when interest rates go up. What I believe is that maybe we'll get back to some sense of normalcy. It's not going to be all the way normal in the Bay Area, but people are still going to buy home. They're just going to need to be educated. The seasons are going to change. The tides are going to change. The market's going to change. So you have to approach your marketing and your communication based on what's happening around us, right? Think about marketing and ad campaigns. Marketing and ad campaigns change based on seasonality, buyer behavior, consumer patterns, all these things. So the messaging changes, right? It's the same with you. As the economy changes, as rates change, as seasonalities change, then your messaging and dialogue that the consumer receives constantly changes. This is why masterful dialogue is super, super important. Because what if interest rates drop, you know, back down to 1.5%? What's going to happen? Oh my God, we have this raise of people coming in back into the market. What do we have to do? We have to get super competitive with our terms. We got to release all of our contingencies. We have to make sure that we're, you know, playing at a higher level. So the messaging has to change based on what is happening around us. Think of yourself as an ad campaign, as a marketing company, and making sure that you have these different conversations as things change around you. Joellen, let's hear from you. Joellen, was that a new hand or an old hand?
Yes, that's a new hand.
All right,
I just want to say it's super important to us for not to like feed into the frenzy of freaking out on rates, and be careful with our language and just you know, nonchalantly just be like, oh, you know, these were what the rates were back in 2018, early 2019, because the rates didn't start dropping till 3% until 2019. So as long as we just make it like it's no big deal and this is just normalcy, then I think we can also calm that fear and anxiety down.
For sure. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. Damian, you had your hand up earlier. Did you want to chime in on this, brother?
Yes, sorry. There we go. Camera on. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
No, on the ends of interest rates, I just really wanted to say the same thing that Colette had just mentioned. Yeah, like it's totally normal. 5%, again, it isn't that much in relation to historically what interest rates are. And what I've been telling my clients is using that crystal ball line. Like, we don't have a crystal ball that tells us, you know, interest rates are going to raise on this date or lower on that date. And do you want to take the chance of them raising even more and you having even less buying power? So waiting may not be in our client's best interest. So letting them know why that is very important. As well as what Eric was saying about how you're accruing equity over this time. Like, you don't want to wait for interest rates to maybe lower another point, but then prices go up another 100, 200,000. It just doesn't equal out. So I'm trying to make it make sense to my clients, you know, when they give me these objections. Like, I understand what you're saying, but that really doesn't make sense, Mr. Buyer. So
Totally. And let's have some context here. I want you guys in your market to let's take 3 price points. Let's take 700,000, let's take 800,000, and let's just take 900 for the sake of the conversation. If a client is looking for let's take the middle, $800,000 home, and 2 months ago, their interest rate was 3.25. Now interest rates are at a 4.75, and just have this conversation. What does that change in their monthly mortgage payment? Like, and Ted, you're shaking your head, brother. So like know these types of conversations when you're going in, no, because what are we doing? We're changing our marketing, we're changing our messaging based on what's happening in the market. So if I can say, you know, Mr. Bob, God, yeah, we want to wait. In actuality, that hike only comes down to $2 extra a day. $2 extra a day. I don't think that should stand in the way of your home ownership goals. But Ted, you're shaking in and out of approval, bro. Let's hear from you.
If I can be very brief, I was going to say that I had that conversation a week ago in a client's house. I equated, they're looking around $850, about $380 a month extra if the rate would have been less. I said, look, you guys imagine 2 years from now, you could be different ball game. I gave him example. My brother bought a house in 2012, 6.6 and 5.8% interest rate. 2 years later, he refinanced at 4.5, and then again he did it when it fell down 3 or below. So is it temporarily? Is cost of doing business? Imagine you're buying it higher than you're buying $850. Imagine you're buying them for $870. One other conversation that I heard great lines. I wrote all of them down. One other line is you have to ask them, is this for a investment property, i.e. flipping, renting, which by the way, last night I read on Inman News, the rents keep going up. Number 2, people stay in their home 7 to 10 years. So this is temporarily paying if you look at it. Beside, I'll finish with this. The trajectory of interest rate for the balance of this year is up. So waiting is not going to help. The trajectory is higher.
I love that.
It's not going to go down.
Let's think about this. Like on an annual basis for this particular client, that's $4,560 for the entire year divided by 12. We're at $380 a month, like Ted said, divided by 30. That's literally $12.60 a day. How many of us are going to spend $12 today? I'm going to spend. That's a coffee and egg whites. Egg white bites. That's literally $12 a day. So when we think about this, we have to be able to have those conversations and like break down the math. Kwanzo, you had your hand up because we're right on a subject that he loves, talking about numbers and math. Let's hear from you, Kwan. Oh, Kwan did have his hand up and now he is not there. Okay, cool. So you guys, the idea, Joe Ellen, is that a new hand or an old hand? Joe Ellen once, Joe Ellen twice, Joe Ellen 3 times. Okay, she put her hand down. All right, cool. So there he is. He's coming right back in. Let me let Kwanzo back in. So you guys, this is why we have these conversations. The agent that I met with yesterday is writing her first offer on Thursday. And she's having, just challenges with her learning her dialogue. I'm like, it just comes down to practice, right? It comes down to practice. I believe if you practice this well enough, there is probably not a scenario where you're not going to be able to have positive conversations about the market. Now, if someone's talking to you about cap rate and these things, you've never worked with investors or what's the rent roll, it's like, yeah, you might get a little challenged with that conversation. I get that. There's going to be variables. But for the most part, you should be able to talk about the market because the scenarios are not that vast, right? You don't have thousands of different scenarios and thousands of different dialogues that you have to memorize. It's not that. It's a really small funnel. So if you practice and become, telling all yourself living at Starbucks, right? So you have to just practice and become mindful of these words and don't just think about it, right? There's something that happens when we actually articulate it, right? So I want you guys to continue to practice, to continue to get better. And look, you're hearing from Ted, who's 18 years in the business, or I don't know, is that right, Ted? A while. You got Nick Guzman, you're hearing from Cynthia, you're hearing from Eric, you're hearing from Ernesto, you're hearing from Joellen, you're hearing from Colette, you're hearing from all these different, walks of life and different, flavors. And then you hear things like, wow, like I can say that, right? I can say that, I can deliver that message. So really, really good stuff today, you guys. I want to continue to push you. And I want to talk about this scenario. Maybe we could come back to it on Wednesday, but I want some food for thought. So we have an agent on the team who is working with the seller, right? Because we're talking about this from a buyer side, but let's talk about this from a seller side. She listed a property at $998 and the seller wants to get $1,050,000. The property's been on the market for 9 days and the seller is complaining left and right. Why isn't it sold? Why isn't it sold? Why isn't it sold? Any other property that sold for well over was listed $889, $920, a lot lower. And so she needs to have this like re-strategy conversation. So what I'm going to do is on Wednesday, I'm going to bring this scenario to the table and I want to hear from you. If you were communicating to the seller, what would that communication be? Because we had a great dialogue yesterday. She had to kind of put him in his place based on what's happening right now. So really good conversation, you guys. Let's come full circle. I want to hear from a couple of people. I want to hear some of your takeaways. But I thought that you guys did an amazing, amazing job today. So let's do this. Let's hear from a couple of people. Teresa Davis, I see you in your car. Let's hear from you, Teresa. What were some key takeaways from what you heard from today's conversation?
Grand Rising, everyone. Some of my key takeaways were practice, practice, practice. Horn in on your skill. This is a skill that we're trying to develop. And just like any other skill, you need to work at it to become proficient in it. So that is my key takeaway. It's just to keep practicing. It's a struggle for me with those videos, but I am trying to be consistent with them.
You know what? Here's the thing. We've all experienced the struggle with the video, but you should probably start your video out like that. Ever struggled with video? Me too, but here's how I got over it, and this is why I'm creating this video. Like, it's literally saying the things that people are already thinking, but like, girl, thank you for saying that. I get you. I'm with you. You're human. I'm human. You're somebody I want to follow. Amanda Lau, let's go to you. Key takeaways from today's session.
Yeah, key takeaway is I really resonate with the poor looks for work and the rich looks for network. So we, as you said, we have to appear in front of our people before they buy, way ahead, before they're thinking about buying and selling and provide value. So that's my key takeaway. Number one. And number two is I'm doing a Mother's Day free portrait day in my neighborhood again. So again, I want to build my network and get more listing. And number three is, as you said, actually, we are sometimes scaring our buyers away by keep saying that interest rate just keep going up and up again. So we have to change our mentality. If people can read your body language, right? So we have to change ourselves first so that we can influence our buyers. So make change in our own self first.
I love that. Like you guys, the power of your physiology and your body language. interest rates are going up. Yeah, interest rates are going up, or we're gonna stay in the fight. Like when you heard Adrian talk yesterday, I think on the call on our team meeting, it was just so much confidence in the way that he spoke to his clients. It's like, okay, cool, you got me, cool, I'm with you, Ernesto, I'm with you, Monica, I'm with you, Ted. Like, I believe in you, right? When we talk about this, like we've said this over and over again, but safety, right? Does my messaging make people feel safe? Do I know when I'm working with Ernesto that he's going to answer questions? He understands what my EMD is. He understands what protects that. He understands that he's not going to write an offer that's going to put us in trouble. Am I safe? And does your message convey a level of safety? Because that's what consumers want to hear. So really good stuff, you guys. Let's go to two other people. Let's hear from Ernesto. You have your hand up, bro. Takeaways from today's session, bro. Boomer.
I just want to share a quick story, a real life example that encompasses just different things that we talk about. So I was doing some follow-up boss calls in front of my mentee, Alex, and I touched a girl that I met 3 weeks ago at an open house. And this is the second time that I've spoken to her. And I pretended like we didn't talk the first time and I didn't already know that she had a realtor. I'm just checking in to see how things are going. And she brought that up. She said, well, I think I'm going to sit this out because interest rates have gone up too high. And just to make a long story short, I said, okay, I understand that interest rates are getting higher and that may, intimidate you. But let me ask you this, what's more important to you, whatever your interest rate percentage is or your payment at the end of the month? Well, she's like, my payment at the end of the month. I said, okay, so are you open to the possibility that we'll find you something that fits your budget, regardless of what the interest rate is, and works for your budget and works for what you're looking for in a home? And she said, absolutely. And she said, by the way, the fact that you called me twice, I haven't heard from my realtor that I thought was my realtor in 3 weeks. I would love to have a conversation to see if maybe we can work together. So kind of one story that shares just a lot of different things that can come from these conversations. So just a real life example. And if anyone thinks I'm making that up, you can ask Alex. He was, watching me as I'm making these calls in the room. So
love that. I love it. Thank you, Ernesto, for sharing and contributing always. Cortez, you had your hand up, then it went down. Did you want to share your takeaways from today's session?
Yeah. I was listening to Nick, and I just like the interest when he said the interest rate rising can create opportunity, and then I can't remember the saying that you said, but it was the feeling, or what was that?
Feel, felt, found. First things first, Cortez, I understand how you feel. Others have felt the same way, but what they have found is when interest rates go up, there may be opportunities, and that just happened for my family, the Anderson family. So feel, felt, found.
Nice. Yeah.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So let's come full circle. My Easter Bunny friend that I met in my community. So Monica, this was your first coaching session with us. There's several people on here that it's their first coaching session. Full circle, let's hear from you. What were some of your key takeaways?
Sure. Thank you. Thank you again for inviting me on here. Ooh, this was good. This was good. So what I took away from it was upstream partners, how important it is. Divorce attorneys, probate attorneys, trust attorneys, insurance agents. That's really good. I actually was in insurance as well. And then also probate sales. And these are really, really powerful because, people are like, especially with divorce, like people in their heads are like, I don't even know what to do. I don't even know how to think about this because it's such an emotional roller coaster that that was really, really good. So definitely, connect with upstream partners. That's what I took away.
Right. That's right. It's like, get ahead of all this, right? Get ahead of all this. Like, who are the wedding planners? Like, think about this, like wedding planners that are having conversations with people well before they decide to what house they're going to live in, which house are we going to sell? Are we going to purchase a home together, right? That's a relationship that I want to have. So it's like, I want you guys to not only think bigger, but to go out there and truly, truly play bigger, because there's tons of opportunities. If we lead with, how can I serve your business better, be an asset to you in your business, you guys will get everything returned back to you because you contributed at the highest level. So you guys, I want to thank you and tell you that I'm not just grateful for you guys. I truly, truly live in a spirit of abundance and gratitude for each and every one of you. Your energy, your excitement, your dialogue, your thoughts, your contributions, the gems that you drop, the realness that you bring to these calls, There's nothing like this in the industry. I promise you, there's nothing else like this in the industry. That's why you guys are so special. That's why Team Fast is so special. So you guys go out there, crush your day, play bigger, and go and find one person today that wants to talk to you about buying or selling real estate. Make it simple on yourself. One person today. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you all soon.